Hi, and welcome to another episode of Kuntarkis. My name is Michael Yon, and this is a Kuntarkis in car episode. It's an episode where he was sitting waiting for his son in the car, and I recorded our phone conversation. We are talking about basically, I titled this Depopulation. There's many references to Australia and such and what's going on around in the world, and it's very relevant to this time at the moment. So yeah, here is Kuntarkis. You were gonna go into something about
Oh, yeah, I'll go into it. From what I read, um, apparently an insider in the WEF, which is run by Klaus Schwab, they've been planning something pretty big. Now, the reason the elite are buying all the food industries, including the farms, is so they can literally cut it off from the whole world from actually getting food. And they believe what they're going to do is starve people to death. That's their
wow,
plan. So that's
wow.
coming. That's coming sometime this year.
Oh gosh, oh
Yes,
gosh.
mate. So if I was you, I would be a little wise and maybe buy things like rice, pasta, tin, maybe some tomato sauce. Things that will last for at least 2 or 3 or 4 years.
I see. And they also are going to somehow stamp down on people growing their own things in their backyard, aren't they?
I don't think they'll have. I don't think they'll have an option. Not much of an option there, mate. I think that would be too much to try and cover. But I think a lot of governments personally will start to become a little bit scared and a bit hesitant to what the World Health Organization, the WEA, are actually doing. These people are declaring war on humanity. And this guy that was speaking he was saying that we have to reverse the process and declare war on these organizations. And it's really, Michael, a very simple process. And the process is we close down the banks, all their banks that they have money from. We close them all down. All the governments have to do is say, right, you're closed, and that's it. They have no choice. They can't go against the government, but the government will bring in the troops, the army, whatever. And once that happens, we then get all the elite and we get them and put them in one place. I mean, it's not as if it's a big thing because they are only about 1%, if that, compared to humanity. But humanity's got to do something. If not, there is going to be mass violence upon this earth because people will attack anyone that's got food,
Mm,
right? It's going to happen because it'll become a lawless planet, and we will have to fight to survive.
wow. And so I guess acting sooner rather than later is way more valuable and important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't understand, Michael, how the governments of the world are actually allowing these people to do something like this. How dare they try to kill humanity? I mean, how dare they? That's mass murder, um, tyranny, and conspiracy, terrorism, and yet nothing is being done. And yet, if I went down the street and I said, I don't like you, and I shot this person, immediately I'd be arrested, charged, and put in prison for life. So how does that make any sense, Michael?
No, I mean the government's like further away from the elite, lower and lower down. Yeah, they're going to have to notice what they're allowing, and that what they're allowing is yeah murder and negative.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And also censorship. They're going to really lay the law down and tell all the governments that they have to become really strict with the people about disinformation, because thousands of hundreds of millions of people, if not probably 3 billion, are already awoken to what actually is happening and to what the elite have conspired already. So a lot of people are awake, and they're sort of scared. They really are scared.
Scared to speak up and awaken others.
No, it's not the people who are scared, it's the elite.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's the elite who are scared, because if that many people are awakening, it's not going to take long for the entire population of humanity to become aware, and they will become restless and violent and angry towards the elite. And these people who are involved, Michael, it's who I've been saying all along. It is Bill Gates who pretends. I read an article about him the other day about how he loves going to India and looking after their children and all that type of thing. He's a mass murderer. He's murdered probably 76,000 babies and children so far with the vaccines and all that type of stuff. And yet he's talking as if he's this really good, loving person. And everyone's saying, oh, we love you because you're helping us. How stupid are people? Seriously. I'm just amazed. I am literally amazed.
Wow. Well, I'm pretty glad to hear that you reckon did you say 3 billion people are aware?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely, Michael. At least 3 billion. At least. All over the world, people are. There are lawsuits going on. There is also in Australia, some lawyers now are taking action against the Prime Minister and the previous Prime Minister for really bad efforts on what has occurred with the genocide in Gaza. But also, there are police, fire brigade people, paramedics all around Australia who have now sued the Prime Minister, like the government, for compensation for losing and also instilling these mandates, which they now class as illegal. They have now worked it out that all those laws that were laid down for the mandates were actually illegal. So that means if they're getting compensation, well, people like myself and Michelle, who's lost about $220,000 over those 3.5 years, deserve compensation also, just like probably 22 million other Australians. You see what I'm saying?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Because what were the mandates? The mandates were doing what to us?
Well, the mandates stopped people from working. The mandates were that you had to have your injections to work. If you didn't have your injections, you couldn't work. So people lost their homes because they wouldn't get the injections. Other people got the injections and became paraplegic, have heart attacks, have massive health problems. So they're suing because the mandates caused all those injuries as well as poverty.
And they were all unnecessary.
And all unnecessary. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. And the biggest person was Morrison, whatever his name, Scott Morrison. He was the biggest because he was the previous Prime Minister. And what he did to those 800,000 people in Canberra, that's going to come out one day. In fact, that's what we should talk about. Like, say, when we talk about the light, we also talk about why we need to go to the light, to grow consciously, to become self-aware, so we learn to understand the reality of what our government has actually done to the people of Australia. And use that as an example. The 800,000 people that went to Canberra in 2021
to protest.
To protest, Yeah, they did it peacefully. They never caused any problem. It was done completely peacefully. When they approached the Parliament House in Canberra, they were confronted with not just police with machine guns that threatened them, but also they were confronted with warfare weaponry like what do they call that?
Sonic.
Sonic boom, which literally busted the ears of so many children and so many adults. And then they also used these vans, utility vans, with microwave machines on top of them that were literally microwaving people, and people were burnt badly.
Wow.
Their body. All over, mate. All over. All over bloody Canberra. And they also poisoned the water, made people violently ill. They put toads, apparently, or something in the water, and the people got really sick.
Is it water that they sprayed on them, or?
No, it was water that was supplied to them.
Like what do you mean, in bottles, or?
Mate, it could have been bottles, it could have been from the taps, It could have been anything. I mean, that was 800,000 people, if not just over it. And there were like, say, 30,000 from Queensland. And we know one person, and she was so violently sick. She had her skin peeling off her body. She was so badly radiated. She nearly went blind. She couldn't talk for days. It was a horrible experience, and they kept it completely quiet. That needs to come out and say, Scott Morrison is 100% responsible for what he did to the Australian people that caused no violence. They were peaceful. But nobody wants to remember that. And this is how far governments will go. If governments will go that far, next time, I reckon they'll shoot people, just mow them down with machine guns. They already warned them if they come any closer, they'll mow them down. And they were so itchy, these people, to actually shoot, that it was nearly a conflict. So close to nearly being a conflict. And there were children and everything, which was so wrong.
And this is several years ago, and you're saying people are still recovering.
Yeah, still recovering, yeah. I mean, microwave, mate, Sonic. It was just horrendous. And they were spraying the air all over where they were staying in this massive park. There were like several parks just outside, and they were staying in there, and they were spraying planes over with all these chemicals, toxic poison. So, people don't know. The news got out once, and that was it. It's horrible. These are our fellow brothers and sisters, mate. Yeah.
It makes me think. I heard somewhere a while back that they, it was that they were training and getting practice. The police and military and stuff were getting a chance to use these different methods and
that's right.
Get used to them and have an opportunity to try them out.
And they were spraying the people with these massive water guns, but they had what they call it, chili in it, and kids were having their eyes sprayed. It was burning their skin from the chili. Was so powerfully strong. The kids were screaming. Oh, it would have been horrible. Absolutely horrible. And that was the government saying, well, we're going to go all the way because we're not going to allow you to speak.
Because that's what they wanted, right? What was they intending with the protest?
The protest was to protest to stop the jab and stop the mandate, right? And stop people from being forced to have an injection if they want to go from one state to the other. And also let the people who are in the New South Wales border back to Queensland, because they've been families have been separated for months and months. They wouldn't let them go in on purpose. They had all the borders closed.
And if they had the ability to be heard, they would have said, this COVID thing, it's not that bad. It's actually not hard to get over. It's not worth all this trouble.
Right. That's right. Because there was a bigger agenda behind it. And Scott Morrison just looked at it, and he would have been told by the World Health Organization or the WEA, just attack them, fix them up once and for all so they won't do it again.
If he had a conscience, he still wouldn't have had a choice. He was still dictated to anyway, wasn't he?
Well, do you know what he said live on radio only about 2 months ago? I actually caught it. He was being interviewed, and he said, no, he said, nothing's my fault. He said, I was Prime Minister, I was under orders, and I did what I did for Australia, right? And he said, as far as I'm concerned, if people want to hold grudges against me, well, he said, I'll hold grudges against them, and I won't forgive them if they don't want to forgive me. It was just bad times. That's just such a lie.
Gosh. But the one thing you quoted him saying then is you said that I'm under orders, he said. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm under orders. And I think that was his big mistake. Because he's supposed to be the man at the top. Yes.
The man at the top for the people, for the Australians, for the best of the Australians.
Do you know, I was talking to some guys this morning, and I said, hey, fellas, I said, come on. I said, who wants to become a politician? And he goes, no way, no way. I said, hey, this is to save your family. This is not about your ego becoming a politician and being dissuaded and being told or dictated to what we can do as a country. This is to form a new government called the Australian People's Government. And I said, bring it into power, and I guarantee we would get in. And what we do, pull away from the World Health Organization, the WEF, every single health organization worldwide, the UN, the lot. And we would literally start to implement people who want to build industries back in Australia and get them going and support them financially. People who want to grow food on farms and all that, support them 100%, but cut out all the sprays. Go back to the way we used to do it because it worked. But now they're doing it because it's cheaper. And they're using Raid, which is one of the most toxic sprays on this planet. Most countries don't use it, yet Australia, we still use it and spray all our veggies and our fruit.
Gosh.
So what I'm saying is, if I could form a government and say, okay, and I had, say, 20 or 30 people that knew what a government is and how to formulate it, I would bloody well step up for being Prime Minister, I can tell you that now. And it'd be for the people of Australia. And I would tear down the government, that no government has the right anymore to listen to overseas politics, and also be totally detached and build this country back up just like El Salvador did, the president in El Salvador, in what he's doing. And we would become one of the richest countries in the world, because that's how we were before 1974. We were doing really well as a country. But you can blame Bob Hawke and also Paul Keating, who is still alive. We can blame them for registering Australian government as a corporation in 1974 with Washington, D.C. But they also sold the sovereignty of Australia to America, that we live under their ruling. And that's why America has a big, a big gathering of defence and other things in Australia, because they're acting as if they actually own Australia.
They've got bases here, don't they? Military bases.
They do. Alice Springs, the scientific centre, is an American secret base, and it goes underground. That's why I'm writing at the moment The World Conspiracy, all about it. Yeah. We just don't realise, and we can't allow ourselves to become, we can't create inner anxiety over it or blame. Like, we can't blame ourselves for listening to the truth. We can't blame others for telling the truth. We can't blame anything that is not truth, because truth must come out so it dissolves the negativity. And it's only the truth that will set each of us free. And if we don't stand up as a nation against evil, we will crumble and we will die. And I'll give you an example. If we don't do anything about the WEF before they release what they're going to release towards the middle or the end of 2024, people around the entire world within 3 months will die like rabbits, because there'll be no food. And the only ones that survive for a longer period of time will be the ones that are smart enough to store their food. And don't tell anyone.
What's that? And don't tell anyone?
Don't tell anyone, because if you do, mate...
Oh, that you've got food, of course. Don't tell the people that you've got food. And clean water as well. And
clean water. And the cleanest water you can get, if you want clean water, is Aldi's water at 75 cents a bottle for a large one, 1.5 litres. And that's really good value. Good value for
is
a
it,
1.5 litres.
Spring water, is it?
It is pure spring water, yes. They've even got the name of the company. I did research into the company. The company is genuine, and they use the best underground water, spring water. They're one honest company. Where Coles, I don't know when they do it, but every so often, they put hundreds of thousands of bottles of water out there, selling them from their shops, and all it is filtered. Filtered water from normal tap.
Really? Even when they say it's spring water?
That's right.
Oh, gee. And I guess that's exactly the same for Woolworths as well.
Yeah, and if you want to prove it, if you're lucky, if you want to prove it, buy a bottle of Woolworths water, just one bottle, 1.5 litres. Buy a bottle of Aldi's water, 1.5 litres. Buy a bottle of Coles water, 1.5 litres. Get the Coles water, put it into a 600 ml drinking bottle that you have, and leave it overnight. Say, drink half of it, see what it tastes like, then leave it overnight or 2 nights, and then open up your container and take a whiff of the smell, and you won't like it.
Wow, really, so it's half emptied, and then you leave the lid on for a night or two, and then you smell it after a night or two.
Open it up and smell it instantly. Take a breath in, and if it doesn't turn you off, that means you probably got a bottle of spring water. But normally it's not. But if you then do, say, Woolworths or Aldi's, it's not a problem, and it tastes completely different. I've tested 10 of the Woolworths packs of 6, and I didn't have one bad bottle in it. But every bottle that I've been buying before, and I haven't bought it now for months, from Coles, I always noticed that what my wife was saying, it had a pungent taste to it if you left it overnight.
So half empty with the lid on.
With the lid screwed down, yes.
Yeah, half empty with the lid on. Yeah, okay.
You should try that, mate.
Yeah, I will.
You know.
Well, unless I get a good batch here or there, then you're saying you never got a good batch. You never got a bad batch from Aldi.
No, never.
Wow.
No. And I've had now probably, it's got to be at least 20, maybe 18, 20 packs of 6, and I've never had a bad bottle.
Interesting.
Always tastes really nice. And also, if you look it up, you'll actually find a lot of reviews on Coles water, and people are being so negative towards it, more negative than positive. And they're probably taking off a lot of the negative ones anyway. But they're saying that they've had bottles where it's got this strange bluey colour in it. And if you leave it there just for a few days, open, it goes really strange. And the smell is like part of sewage. It's really horrible. So other people have recognized the same issue.
Wow.
And also, like Coles water is 95 or 99 cents a bottle, 1.5 litres, where the same with Woolworths, I think. Woolworths is 95, but Aldi's is 75 cents a bottle, and it's really good water. So far, anyway.
Yeah. It's pretty alarming what you've said that is possible to happen in even just like the next 6 to 12 months. So why don't you go on, Kuntarkis, from what you were basically saying about the gist of what was one of the titles that you saw on Rumble about the WEF and the food shortage?
Well, their plan, which has been in progress, and it is all the elite, and that includes Bill Gates. He's apparently one of the master planners, but he keeps himself, how would you say, not too far into the forefront, so he doesn't get sort of picked on. But he's as guilty as ever. Well, their plan now is to starve humanity, and that's why they bought out all the actual companies who sell food, who also supplies it, and they literally control them. So what's going to happen between, say, the 6th month or towards the end of the year, apparently they're going to suddenly announce that there's going to be a massive famine worldwide. So that means there'll be no food for people. So it's going to create massive violence and probably massive amounts of death through violence, but also through starvation. And that's what they did to India, mate. And that's what they did to Africa. They took all the food away from them, and it killed hundreds of thousands of people. The rest they slaughtered. But nobody wants to know about that with Wandana, I think it is. Rondana, I think it's called. I think nearly 1 million people perished. They slaughtered them.
Wow.
So it's pretty horrendous to what the World Health Organization, the UN, the WEF, the CDC, whoever else is involved, what they're actually doing and why they want to wipe out. And you've got to keep asking yourself the question, why do they want to wipe out 90 to 95% of the human population when they make all their money from the people? So now they're looking at something totally different. They don't need money. If the people aren't here, they can start a new race under their regime.
Yeah, let me guess, which is synthetic, has synthetic biology, and therefore they are able to literally control these mostly not human humans.
100%. 100%. Because, and also the other thing too is when I told you a few days ago about the algorithms removing the consciousness of a person and then getting that person to kill themselves or go to the government to get whatever they're going to supply to kill themselves. That's their plan also, to get rid of all those people. That's the funny part. My question comes back to one thing. Why are they trying to wipe out 95% of the human population? Answer, they're scared because they know that they can't control the human population of 7 billion people. No matter how much they try, they will never succeed. And the amount of effort and the amount of financial wealth that they're going to waste is just horrendous. So why not just destroy the population and start a new race, synthetic biology, where they can control you completely, 100%. And it'll only take, like, say, I don't know, in 50 years, they'll probably have, like, say they had, I don't know, let's say they had 500 million. Well, in 50 years, they might have, 1.5 billion or 2 billion. Synthetic biology. It doesn't take long to build a race up. If we go back between 250 and 280 years, we had less than half to what we've got now, Michael.
Mm.
And yet the human population has been around for 928,000 years. And on that note, mate, I am sorry, but I have to dissipate.
Your sound in my ears has to dissipate.
I had to dissipate.
All right. It was a good one, Kuntarkis. Thank you.
Take care.
You
Take
too.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye. And this concludes another episode of Kuntarkis. If you'd like to find out more about Kuntarkis, he has a website which is etcconsciousness.com. You can find out there about his books and more about him. There's some articles there and some interesting pictures. And if you'd like to contact us, you can also email kuntarkis@gmail.com. You can ask a question, you can ask for consultation, you can maybe make a suggestion for our podcast or something that you'd like for us to talk about. So that's it for now. Thanks so much for listening. My name is Michael Yon, and stay tuned for more.